As we mentioned, it was announced today that the Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing plant in Northwest Phoenix will add a third factory by way of a $6.6 billion grant from the Federal Chips and Science Act. The goal is to increase national security by improving domestic semiconductor production and supply chains. Joining us now is Dale Rogers of the W.P. Carey School of Business. He's our go-to guy when it comes to supply chain issues. Good to see you.
Great to see you, Ted.
Thanks for coming. How big a deal is this?
It's a big deal. I'm not completely surprised because TSMC basically has had one location for all, and they're a huge percentage of the world's at least high-end microprocessors. So it makes sense when their second location that they would put a lot of capacity in the same place. They kind of like that kind of model. And like you and me and a lot of us that have come to the Valley, I think they like what they see.
Yeah, they like what they see. What is this Taiwan? Give us a kind of a background on this particular company.
Well, it's an interesting company because 20-some years ago, they took a different slant. Their boss, Morris Chang, came from Texas Instruments, which made sort of lower end, still does, semiconductors. And the Taiwanese government said, come here, we'll give you whatever you want. He's originally a native of mainland China. He comes back to Taiwan, and he says, well, I want to do a different model. So I'm not going to compete directly with the Intels and AMDs. I'm going to be a foundry. I'm going to be a contract manufacturer. So TSMC generally doesn't design their own chips, but other people design. So for instance, if you have an Apple computer, a new one, your Apple microprocessor was designed by Apple, but manufactured by TSMC. And it's been a brilliant model to be the contract manufacturer, as opposed to what, say, Intel is, which was the main thing back years ago, integrated device manufacturer, an IDM, where they did everything, soup to nuts. And TSMC is specializing in the manufacturing.
Interesting. How did you kind of told the story a little bit here with TSMC, but how did the U.S., which seemed like it was on the cutting edge of all this innovation and was tops and pops when it comes to semiconductors, how did we get so far behind in manufacturing?
Well, it's really TSMC because they only focused on that. It's hard to do everything when you're a company. So Intel, which is a great company and a great friend of ASU's, and I was just telling you, I had an Intel speaker in my class today. We love Intel, but Intel was trying to do the whole thing, and the capital dollars are so high, as you just mentioned, $65 billion.
Yes.
That's such a huge investment that TSMC said, we're going to focus from here to here just on the manufacturing. And if you look in other industries, it's been this way for a long time, where people focus on, developing the brand, designing the product. Nike doesn't make any of their own shoes. They have factories do that for them. And TSMC said a long time ago, we're going to be right here, because people were giving up their fabs, their fabrication plants, because they're too expensive.
Right.
And so they're the manufacturer for really the rest of the world.
And they're here now, and the footprint is getting ever larger. Why here? Why the decision to come here?
There's a lot of reasons. For one thing, we have a huge mass already. So we're not very expensive Northern California, where chip companies have been for a long time, including Intel is headquartered there. Most of Intel's employees, though, are here in the Valley. Austin, Texas is another big place. And this is going to sound crazy, what I'm going to say here, but you need a lot of water when you make semiconductors. We have the cheapest water of any American city, even though we don't have that much. So I know that's crazy, but that was a big part of the decision, along with the sort of established base of semiconductors here already.
If water gets scarce, if water gets more expensive, what happens out there in the Northwest Valley?
Well, I think the belief is that it's not going to get scarce, and if it does, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe we'll have to figure out a new way to do it without water, which I don't know how that'll work.
Senator Mark Kelly had mentioned supply chain issues in particular. You're the supply chain guru. You know all about this stuff, up, down, and sideways. What does this mean as far as supply chain issues in the semiconductor industry in particular, but in the electronics industry in general?
Well, it makes a huge impact. Now, one of the things that's interesting that we don't talk about much, when you need the advanced microprocessors, sort of stuff that Intel does, that TSMC really likes to do, you also need the smaller chips as well, the sort of 30 to 40-year-old technology, and we're not really creating new 30, 40, 50-year-old technology plants. We're not really investing in those. And so this does make a huge impact on the real high end, I think. But there still is going to be a capacity issue looking forward as all those plants, which a lot of them are in China with the old technology, particularly if we, sort of continue to deglobalize, which it seems like we're unwisely doing.
So basically, that old technology could become new again, and there could be an open lane.
You got to
anywhere.
have the little chips. So my endowed professorship, I'm the ON Semiconductor Professor of Business at ASU, and ON Semiconductor is the old analog semiconductor part of Motorola. Motorola came here a long time ago. I think they were the first ones. And so ON makes a lot of those little chips. A car is basically a computer these days, and you need a phone, and you really need all of those little chips to go along with the advanced microprocessors. So there are some supply chain issues that we still haven't figured out in the future, I think.
You confident they will be figured out?
It's a lot of dollars, Ted.
Yeah.
The price of a new advanced, $65 billion. That's what TSMC is spending here. Yikes! And a new fab. When I was a young guy, they cost, $1.5, $2 billion, and now they're 20, 25, and I think the price will continue to go up. So that's a huge amount of dollars to have to invest. So we're seeing the industry gets further and further concentrated. You know what another piece of this is? The equipment that you need to make these advanced chips really comes from one company, and they're in the Netherlands. They're not here, ASML.
Yeah.
And they do have some reps here and stuff, but we have many places in that supply chain where there's not redundant capacity.
Dale Rogers, W.P. Carey School of Business. Thank you, sir. Good information.
Great to be with you.